Hello and welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Sprocket, West Kentucky, and KY Innovation. We are back for episode 240, even number episodes. So that means that we are looking at the news of the last few weeks. And let me pull up the first story. We'll jump right into it. And it's not so much a story as much as a resource. I thought it was worth sharing that the state of Kentucky created a new website last week called stopscams.ky.gov. And if you go to this site, it has a number of ways for you to get tips to keep you safe, some things that are going on, some different trends. They even have a way for you to subscribe to what the latest scams are, and you've heard me talking about the scams that are going around a lot, and I find myself talking to organizations frankly all the time. And if you have an organization that you would like for me to talk to about the scams that are going around, cyber scams in particular, but phone scams, texting scams, email scams, online scams. I don't care what it is. I want to keep you safe, and the state has stepped up and said we want to keep you safe as well. And the reality is, last year Kentuckians lost over $74 million to scams. And I will argue that that number is low because I believe that there's a lot of scams that people that have lost money that did not get reported. So that number is likely higher. Of that, 68% of those scams were initiated online. And in almost a third of cases, it had a negative impact on mental health. I mean, that makes sense because it's stressful. So anyway, go visit stopscams.ky.gov if you want some tips. Report a scam, recover from a scam. You need any help, they will provide that for you there. Moving into some normal news of what's going on. I thought this was interesting. There was a study that was done by Rockwell Automation. They are a large global, maybe the largest company dedicated to industrial automation. And if you heard of PLCs, they're a large player in that space. But they have done a study, and the study shared a few things. First of all, 61% of cybersecurity professionals plan AI adoption, particularly in, this was focusing on smart manufacturing, so in the manufacturing space. But 61% of security professionals in the manufacturing space plan to adopt AI. Are we preparing the workforce for that? That's another discussion. 30% of those surveyed said that cybersecurity now ranks among the top external risk. The only thing that's a bigger risk than cybersecurity, according to the survey of those that answered, is inflation and economic growth. So there's a lot that's going on. They also said that the converging architecture of things is a massive challenge, and half of those that surveyed said that's a key thing, is how do we secure IT, OT as they start to merge together as a very important key to their positive outcomes. So anyway, interesting stuff. Take a look at it. I think the key is, and this is just talking manufacturing, but I think this is going to be true everywhere, is that if you're in a company, if you're doing cybersecurity or not, if you're in the workplace today and you're not thinking about AI and how it can support your organization, then you're probably missing out on some opportunities there. You need to be thinking about that. I'm not saying that you have to do everything. I'm not saying put your personal information in there, because I won't tell you that unless you own the entire environment and can secure the entire environment. but thinking about how it can help you augment your time and resources, I think is very important. So make sure that you're doing that. All right. Next. Oh, yes. Um, so new cyber claims are expected to rise according to a survey. So there was a survey that was released on, I believe this was Wednesday, looking at, it was the 2025 Cyber Insurance Outlook. It was very interesting and had some things to just keep you in the loop of that as you're planning for budgets for next year. Just be ready. The value of cyber insurance claims vary significantly. Recent data has indicated that it's around $115,000 per claim, but some reports have claimed that it's closer to 345,000 for small and medium-sized businesses and 812,000 for larger for all organizations combined, and that's when you factor in the larger organizations. 66%, so 2/3 of the insurance providers that were surveyed plan to increase policyholder rates because of them filing an insurance claim. So there's a lot of insurance claims. There's more claims being filed. The claim rate is increasing. And if you claim a rate, there's a good chance that your rates are going to go up. I mean, it makes sense. It happens with your car insurance. It happens with other types of insurance. But I hate that this is happening. And I think that claims are going to continue to rise because the bad guys are continuing to attack, and they know that cyber insurance is a thing. 20 years ago when nobody had cyber insurance, there was not as much of an incentive for the bad guys to attack you. They could steal information. They could take control of your camera. They could do some things, but now they know there's some backstop to help pay them to get them to stop. So if they hit you with ransomware, now they know there's insurance to pay that ransom, whatever that ransom is. Maybe it's not the full asking amount that they're asking for, but it's some portion. So they're going to do it. So we're incentivizing this bad behavior without actually realizing that we're doing it. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I guess the headline here says it all, is that cyber claims are expected to rise both in volume and in price. And like any other type of insurance, if that's happening, the cost of that is not going to stay with the insurance company. It's going to be passed over to the policyholders. All right, finally, there was a Salesforce breach. When did that happen? I think a month or two ago, mid 2025. It included technology, retail, luxury fashion, aviation, insurance companies. It had victims that included Adidas, Google, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany and Company, Cisco, Alliance Life, Pandora. There's a lot of different companies that were part of this data breach. Everybody assumed there was a flaw in Salesforce that they were able to exploit. Well, it turns out that it was easier to bypass, easier to implement social engineering than it was to actually bypass technical controls. This massive breach affecting multiple companies was the result of social engineering, at least according to this report, and not due to a technical flaw in the design. I think, whether you use Salesforce or not, the point of this to me is, yes, you want to make sure that your technical controls are sound and that you're using and deploying best practices, but the challenge is still going to be found with your employees. They're going to be the problem. They're going to the social engineering aspect are going to be much easier and cheaper for a bad guy to deploy than what you might actually be doing. All right, last thing, and I know I'm up on time. there was an attack, and we talked about it here that AT&T had over the last few months. Actually, I think those were in 2024. They did have a settlement where customers can receive up to $7,500 from AT&T. So if you're an AT&T customer, take a look at this. You might be owed some money and can get some benefit because of going through the privacy components of protecting your privacy in this data breach. All right. Anyway, that's all that I have for today. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you next week back here on 10 at 10. Thank you. Bye.